Hey guys and gals, Homestead Prepper. I want to share with you how my wife and I don't get colds anymore. And my wife is going on like 3.5 years. I think it was January of 2015 is the last time she had a cold. And I haven't had a cold since October of 2016. So that's about 21 months ago. And the secret that I'll share with y'all, of course, I have to, say that this video is for information purposes only, and it's not meant to cure or treat any disease, and I am not a doctor, nor do I play one here on YouTube. But yeah, now that I got that out of the way, and for you people who don't want to wait till the end of the video and find out, what I take and everything, well, basically oregano, barley, elderberry, and olive leaf. Okay, so there, you people are good, and you scoffers out there who don't believe in natural medicine, go get your flu shot. But everybody I know who gets a flu shot gets a cold, and they always say, oh, it doesn't protect against every strain. Well, why take it? And guys, I won't take the flu shot, not willingly, because when I go around and they're encouraging everybody to take it and it's free, I'm sorry. I have reservations about that. The no sale goes off. It's just a red flag event. And the reason I say that is because some of y'all remember back in, I think it was October of '95, Bill Clinton came out and said that our government, the United States government, had injected pregnant women, this was in the 1950s, with radioactive isotopes to see what it would do to the fetuses. And these women were going to a free clinic, that was sponsored by the government, because after all, you can trust the government, right? Well, it ended up, killing these women and killing, their babies. Well, killing some of the women. And I think none of the babies survived. But guys, I'm not taking a free vaccine. I don't want it. And speaking of vaccines, my wife had the shingles vaccine and the booster, and she still ended up getting shingles. And well, I'll continue that in the rest of the video, but that's getting off on the vaccine content. But basically, guys, I was getting a cold once a year. I had a cold so bad in 2002 that I had the burning eyes, the headache, and every time I sneezed, every muscle in my back and legs burned, itched, twitched, and stung. And this went on for a couple days, just miserable, and I remember asking God, I go, is there anything we can do to lessen the effects of a cold? Because, what, Sudafed, Actifed, Zicam, all that stuff, it doesn't work on me. You take it, and I don't feel any better. The only thing that works is Advil, and that just reduces the headache, But I don't know, it was sometime after that, a guy I was working with, I had a cold, and he was telling me that he didn't get colds anymore. I said, well, that's very interesting. And I says, well, what do you do? He goes, well, it would sound ridiculous. And I says, well, I have an open mind. Tell me what you do. I'm interested. And he said, well, I take oregano and barley. And he never told me anymore, and then he just shut up, because probably a lot of people, made fun of him or whatever. But he never had a cold the whole time I knew him. But I went down and got some, and guys, this is barley, like you buy in a big bag, like a 25 or 50 pound bag. This does not work, okay? And what he did tell me is that this alkalizes your system. And I did some research, and we got some of these pH strips. And what I did is I started taking this, and my wife took it, and guys, I'm a firm believer, if it's a natural food, how is it going to harm you? If this guy had told me, well, you drink 3 gallons of kerosene every day and that gets rid of your cold, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. That's stupid. But if it's a food, you're not allergic to it, and you do it in moderation, what have you got to lose, okay? So we started doing this, and our pH, I forgot what our pH was, but it was low, and then it moved up here to between 7 and 7.5, and we did not get any cold. But the problem is you need to do a daily regimen of this, and you start feeling good, you stop doing it, and then you feel that cold coming on, and then you take a little pinch of this and chew this stuff up. Guys, I don't know if you've ever tried that, but this is some really powerful stuff. And I had a hard time doing the protocols for that, okay? And then I think it was the end of 2014. The Brooklyn Prepper, and thank you, brother, came out with a video about this elderberry stuff right here, and I'll leave a link to his video. And this stuff right here is absolutely a miracle on colds. And he says him and his wife don't get colds, and they do that every cold and flu season. And guys, I started... maybe I should take some right now. Started taking, a teaspoon of that, and whenever I get around somebody with a cold, I would take, maybe a teaspoon or, 2 teaspoons. But I only did it, in the presence of someone with a cold. And if I felt a cold coming on, then I would take a little more of it. And I remember we had a birthday party we had to go to over in Orlando. And I woke up that morning with a runny nose and a little bit of a sore throat. Well, I started doing 2 tablespoons of this every 2 hours. And we left over there, and by the time we got back, that cold had been knocked out. And that elderberry, I cannot say enough about it. Now, I was talking about my wife's got shingles, and she had had the vaccine and all that. Well, guys, I have not had the chicken pox, and for someone at my age to get the chicken pox, it would probably be lethal. And to say the least, I was kind of paranoid about the whole thing. And then a family member recommended that she called up and said, you should take some of this olive leaf and it boosts your immune system. And I was taking 4 of these a day. And she also, my wife went to the doctor, she got some pills, and gave her some cream for her back, because that's where it was breaking out at. It was very painful. And it didn't really do anything for her. Well, this same family member recommended taking some of this oregano oil, and this is one of these olive leaf capsules, breaking it open. We put it in a bowl. I put rubber gloves on, mix it up, and put it on those things on my wife's back, and it actually gave her some relief. And she only had the shingles for 30 days. And she was taking 4 of these a day. And guys, I want to say I don't have an eBay business, and I'm not selling any of this stuff, so I'm not going to profit by it. I'm just telling you what works for me and my wife. But that oregano oil and olive leaf, very powerful healing stuff. We had her brother got shingles, and he had it for like 9 months. And I think I had another brother-in-law, he had it for like a year. And I truly believe that this kind of expedited her getting over it. And we've moved up, and we've got the 1,000 now. Guys, I didn't end up getting the shingles or chicken pox from being exposed to her or anything like that. And this, I take 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. 1 with breakfast and 1 with dinner, and she takes like 4 a day. I told you it had been 3.5 years since my wife had a cold, and it's been 21 months since I've had a cold. And what happened, we were on vacation, and I didn't have this with me at the time, and I felt that cold start to come on, and I didn't have my magic little stuff, and it developed into a cold. And by the time we got home, I started taking this, and it didn't knock it out. But the cold only lasted 3 days, and it was a lot less than a cold normally is. Normally a cold is 7 days. And I hate to be sick. Some of you people know my mom is a retired nurse, and she told me a long time ago that there are people who enjoy getting sick. And I remember being a kid and just saying, man, you got to be kidding me, because I hate to be sick. It's miserable. And I asked her why, and she says, well, they like the attention, and they like family coming over and doing stuff for them. Or if they go in the hospital, they like people waiting on them, giving them more attention. And guys, for the record, I want to say that I don't want to be sick, and I don't want attention that badly. I want to do for myself, if at all possible. Okay, guys, well, I hope you found this helpful. But basically, what we're doing now is I take 2 of these a day. She takes 4. And if I go out of town again, I'm going to take my elderberry, and I'm going to take the olive leaf. And like I said, we have been cold free for quite a while. So okay, guys, I really didn't mention how much of this stuff I take, except for the olive leaf. And I mentioned not to take this type of barley. This is barley I got off of Amazon. It came in a 25-pound bag, and I vacuum packed it, and I did a former video about that. But this does not alkalize your system, and that's what you're going for. This is just pearled barley that you can get at any grocery store. They also have another brand up there. But this right here will alkalize your system, and you can test it with those test strips, and that kept me from getting a cold. And guys, before I go a little farther in here, I want to say that you should consult with a physician who is licensed with the AMA before you attempt to take any of these natural foods right here, okay? And guys, those people at the AMA and doctors, they statistically kill 125,000 people a year from the medications that they prescribe, can directly be linked to those medications. I have a brother-in-law who took Vioxx for years, even though it was, outlawed in Europe and everything, and it killed the nerve impulses to his heart. He had to get a pacemaker. That's from a prescribed medication that they knew had been outlawed in foreign countries, but the FDA still approved it. So how many people are going to die from taking natural foods? Well, I don't know, I can't answer that, but I'm definitely not going to be taking any Vioxx prescribed by a doctor. Yeah, I know it's been since outlawed and everything. But the dosages, guys, and like I said, always consult with a doctor. If I would feel a cold coming on, I would take a pinch of this in the morning and maybe a pinch in the evening and chew it up and swallow it with water or orange juice. Now, I never had any success with putting a couple drops of this in my orange juice. That never seemed to do anything for me for a cold, for whatever reason. I don't know. But if you take too much of this, it'll give you diarrhea. It's a super powerful antibiotic. This, to alkalize my system, I would take quarter cup in the morning, not a quarter cup, an eighth of a cup in the morning and an eighth of a cup in the evening, raw. If you cook it, it changes the properties of it. And you can get some of these test strips, and you will watch. If you're not alkalized, you will become alkalized from taking that. Now, guys, I never took this every day as a preventative. If I was in contact or up around somebody who had a cold, I would probably take 3 teaspoons of this a day for 3 days, and I was usually good. Now, if I, woke up in the morning with like a light sore throat or sniffles or something, I might start taking half a shot of that 3 or 4 times a day, and that'll usually knock it down. So, this olive leaf, I think I already mentioned, I take 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening with meals, and my wife takes 4 days. So, okay, guys, well, I hope that clarified it for you and made it a little clearer. Guys, I also want to add that I had a friend, a guy I worked with here recently, and he had a cold for 3 weeks, and he just couldn't shake it. So I recommended some of this. I actually gave him a pint. It was half that amount right there. That's a quart. And he took it home and he drank it all in one night. And he come to work next day, and he said it didn't do anything for him. And then he that same day he left and went to a doctor, and then I think it was a day or two later he finally got over it. Now, whether what the doctor gave him cured him or not, or this, but this, if you're already sick as a dog and you take it, it's not a miracle thing, okay? It's more of a preventative than it is some type of miracle cure. And the longer that you're sick, the less active that elderberry stuff is going to be on you. So, okay, I just thought I'd throw that in there. These are not miracle drugs or foods. Okay, guys, I just thought I'd show you these little test strips right here. Now, I just put this in my mouth a couple minutes ago. This tests the pH of your saliva, and you can see that is pretty darn alkalized right there. I mean, that's up there around that 7.5, And I have had my pH go way down here, and when your pH is down here, you're more susceptible to colds and we'll just say other conditions, okay? But if you keep your pH up, you're not going to get a cold. That's bottom line. This right here, like I said, will raise it, and it'll do it usually quick, fast, and in a hurry. So, okay, guys, I just wanted to show that to you. These are old strips. Probably should buy some newer ones, but we've had them for years, and we use them on occasion. One little thing of this will go quite a ways. Okay, well, finally, Homestead Prepper out.